Hi, I'm Maddie Sandin. Thanks for joining us today for the Week in Review. A former UK chef was found dead late Friday night. Alex Johnson's body was found in a barrel submerged under 4 feet of water in the Kentucky River. The coroner's office concluded he died from blunt force trauma to the head. Alex Johnson went missing December 20th. He was on the phone with his girlfriend when he hung up to answer the door and was never seen or heard from after that night. Police have arrested 2 suspects in the case. President Obama issued the State of the Union address Tuesday. After 5 years on the job, President Obama had a 41% approval rating going into the speech. The president suggested he would issue an executive order to raise the minimum wage for federally contracted workers. Such a move would only affect work contracted out by the government, but the president urged for states and cities to consider raising the minimum wage in their respective areas. He also urged for immigration reform to happen this year and told lawmakers he would veto a new sanctions bill. According to the president, a sanctions bill could get in the way of nuclear talks with Iran. Prime Minister Mykola Azarov of Ukraine resigned Tuesday in the midst of severe political turmoil. Protests still rage in the streets of Kiev because of outraged demonstrators. Anti-government protests turned into violent riots when lawmakers passed anti-protest laws on January 16th. Along with the resignation of the Prime Minister and his government, the Parliament is considering repealing the anti-protest laws and granting amnesty to nearly 200 people who have been arrested since November. The Sochi Olympics will start Friday, February 7th, despite concerns over athletes' safety. A major security threat comes from Black widows of militants killed by Russian forces, who may be present and posing a threat during the Games. With threats of suicide bombers and terrorist threats, many family members of athletes have decided to reconsider their plans for heading to Sochi. Others are considering keeping activity in Sochi to a minimum. No U.S. Olympians have withdrawn from the Games, and up to this point, all events are scheduled as normal. Sochi currently has over 40,000 police and military personnel working to keep the city safe, more than triple the U.S. had during the Salt Lake City Olympics 12 years ago. The U.S. has 2 Navy ships sanctioned in the Black Sea, which are ready to evacuate citizens in the possibility of a threat. A severe winter storm left many stranded in the deep south Tuesday and Wednesday. Unexpected by many in Georgia and Alabama, commuters faced standstill on highways and many children were forced to spend the night in schools. With parents leaving work at lunch and schools letting out early, roadways backed up quickly and recovery efforts couldn't keep up with the snow and ice. Many locals who were able to travel home safely tweeted and changed their Facebook statuses, offering help to the countless of others stranded on the highways and in schools. Governor Nathan Deal of Georgia claimed that the city was better prepared compared to Snowmageddon 2011, but the storm still created havoc in the southeast major transportation hub. The average price for a Super Bowl commercial slot in this year's Super Bowl? $3.5 million for a 30-second commercial. Budweiser spared no cost this year in their production, releasing their latest Super Bowl commercials this week. Puppy Love and A Hero's Welcome focus on heartwarming stories. Puppy Love debuted Wednesday to an overwhelming positive response. It shows the story of a young puppy who befriends a horse and keeps escaping his home to visit the iconic Budweiser Clydesdale. A Hero's Welcome takes a documentary-style approach, following the return of Lieutenant Chuck Nad from Afghanistan. His entire Florida hometown surprises him with a welcome home parade and a visit from his mother. The emotional reunion is further documented in a 5-minute documentary produced by Budweiser. Kellogg's announced this week that each Color Loop and their popular Fruit Loops cereal actually has the same flavor. So next week, tune in with your Fruit Loops and get ready for the next segment of The Week in Review.